going to look at cleaning chrome and what's available to get your chrome back to a shiny sort of state. Now, back in the good old days, back in the 50s, 60s, even the 70s, they used to apply chrome, sort of 3 layers, proper, I think it was brass that they used underneath it, and it was quite long lasting, and it would last a good few years before it started to show any real signs of aging. The modern chrome, and particularly within the classics world, the replacement stuff is not always as good as that. I bought some spotlights from a Land Cruiser, and within a few months there were spots of rust starting to come through the chrome. I complained to and they were expensive lights, they were over £300 for a pair, and I complained to the company that supplied them, and they said, oh well, stainless steel does rust. Well, of course, that's kind of the whole point of stainless steel, is that it doesn't, and they weren't stainless steel anyway, they're chrome. So I got some chrome cleaner, and I used this Tcutt one, and I've used that quite a bit, and I've now been using it on my Spitfire as well, and it's okay. You know, it brings it up to a nice shine. You can see I've used quite a lot of it. The only thing I've found with this though is that you have to repeat it pretty regularly when you're using the car, as often as the Land Cruiser gets used. I'm having to reapply it every few weeks, and of course eventually that's going to wear through the chrome because these things are abrasive, so I wasn't entirely happy with that. But the rust gets cleaned off. You can't replace the chrome unless you get the thing replated, and so those little holes, the rust comes back up through fairly quickly as water gets in. So then I was at the Classic Show, Practical Classic Show, back end of last year, 2019, and I saw a guy demonstrating a 3-stage process, using these blocks and wheels. So you've got 3 wheels of varying hardness. This is the softest one, and that's the softest block. The idea is you get some of that on the block, that goes in your drill, spins around, hold your chrome on it, and he was getting fantastic looking results in the show. And it does work pretty well, and the more abrasive blocks are pretty good for getting out scratches and stuff like that. But you've still got the same problem that it's not actually protecting that metalwork underneath that is rusting. It's not the chrome that rusts, it's the metal underneath the chrome. Over time the chrome separates out slightly, you get little pinpricks in it, water gets in, and it starts to rust the material underneath, and that then comes through the chrome and starts to lift it, and the holes get bigger and bigger and bigger. So, worked okay, but it wasn't brilliant. Then I watched a video, a Jay Leno video online on YouTube, and he interviewed a guy who owns this company, Quick Glow, and he wrote about this in, if you'll excuse the pun, fairly glowing terms. The guy's name I think is Brent Decloach, and he took over the company in 2005, I think, something like that, 2002, with his daughter, and they still run the company together to this day, so it's a proper little family firm. The actual product was invented in the 1950s, 1957, and he wrote young Jay Leno really talked in glowing terms about this, and really recommended it, so I thought, let's give it a bash. So whereas with most of the cleaners, they just simply clean off the rust, the advantage with this stuff was that after it's cleaned, it then puts a protective layer of wax on, and so that stops the water getting into the holes and then lifting the rust up, lifting the chrome up and allowing the rust to come back through again. So this is a protectorant as well as a polish, and that was kind of the appealing thing. So I've ordered a pot. It's available in the UK. Can't remember the name of the distributor, but you Google it, it's available. It arrived the other day, and I set to cleaning some chrome. This is, as a side issue, if you're concerned about that sort of thing, it's non-toxic, very environmentally safe. If it goes hard in the pot, if you leave the lid off, you just add a bit of water and it softens it up again. So it's quite a nice product as well. You don't have to wear gloves or masks or anything like that. It's quite a gentle sort of a product. It's got, what is it? I think it's pumice that they use in it with the wax, and the idea is that as you rub that in, the pumice breaks down to smaller and smaller granules, and so you're effectively using a finer and finer paste as you polish it, but without having to use lots and lots of different products of different grades. So I've used this on some of the Spitfire chrome parks, which are pretty ropey actually. Some of them, they're pretty rough. So what we'll do now, we'll have a look at how those came up and how the polishing went. Okay, so we're going to polish up this door handle and this lighting unit. No, sorry, not lighting unit, mirror. Now, as you can see, the Muppet who had the car before, who hand painted it with a yard brush, slapped the paint on and didn't bother to remove any of the trim. So lots of the bits of chrome and seals and stuff like that have got blue paint splurged all over them. So the first job is going to be to take that off, and then we're going to try it with a polish. That's going to need a new seal actually, that's pretty dire. So we'll be using the Mark 1 fingernail to go around and just tidy that paint off, and then we'll see how we go from there. And I'm going to need a new seal on that as well. It's a bit of a pain. Okay, so we'll see how it goes. It's pretty cold out here at the moment, just a couple of degrees above freezing, so the suggestion on the instructions for this was that if it's cold it can separate out the wax, and it separates out and solidifies, so just warm it up a little bit before you start. So I'll just have that on the back of the Arga for half an hour or so, just warming up. So we have wax on, wax off. So those of a certain age will recognise from the Karate Kid. I'm going to start with this. I'm not expecting great things, to be honest, because it's pretty badly pitted, but if I can just tidy it up a little bit so that it'll do, because they're expensive to replace, then I'll be fairly happy with that. So, blob of stuff. What they say is don't use too much pressure, just let the wax do the work. Don't use circular motions, they say on the instructions. Go with the grain, it says, which I don't quite understand because there isn't a grain on chrome, but there you go. I'm just going to let the polish sit for a little while on that. I'll do my mirror. So I don't know how clearly you can see this, but it's just a little bit hazy on the top there where there's a little bit of very early pitting going on. So we're going to get this on now and just try and save that mirror. So again, blob of wax. So tempting to use a circular action. Right, the handle's had a little bit of time to dry off a little bit, so wax off. It might take a couple of treatments to get this optimised. We'll see how we go. But already it's a lot better than it was, even just with that one application. You're never going to get rid of this pitting in here. That's actual holes in the chrome. The best that you can do is hope that you can get rid of the rust and stop it from coming back. Ultimately these will have to be replaced, but I'll try and put that off for as long as possible. But yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. I would say that the results from this, I've done a few bits now, are significantly better than the results from the other methods that I've described. If I show you these clock surrounds that I've done, they were really in quite a state beforehand, and they've come up really, really nice. Especially this one was, if you look at the back, it was all like that, and it's come up really, really well. And here's the smaller gauges that I've done, and again they were in a bit of a state to start off with, and they've come up really, really nice. Pretty pleased with those. Right, wax off on the mirror. How are we doing? Well, we're certainly getting there. It's going to need a second treatment. There's just a few little bits left here, but it's a big improvement on where it was before. So that's really not looking too bad now. So we're going to do a second coating of both of these, and then we'll see how we're going at that point. So the mirror has finished its second application, and you can see it's come up really nice. Very, very good. Bit more work, and well, I don't even know if it needs a bit more work, to be honest. They do recommend actually that rather than using these sort of microfiber cloths, use a proper cotton cloth, but I haven't got one, so I'm using what I've got, and it's done all right. I'm pretty pleased with that. I reckon that's okay. And hopefully the thing with this stuff is that the marks won't come back quickly because it's actually got a protective layer on there. You know, it's not going to come back through. Right, so we'll look at the door handle. The door handle I've given a little bit more elbow grease, but you can see that is, I think, significantly better than it was. And again, hopefully it means that the surface is now protected a wee bit, and so these rust spots here, they won't spread. So it's not A1, but until I get a replacement, I think that will be okay. Once that's on the door, I don't think that's going to look terrible. It's not perfect, but it's not going to be terrible. This is the mirror from the other side, and that's come up really nice on the chrome. Also the glass on this was a bit khaki, so I took a chance and had a go at the glass, and that's come out really well as well. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this stuff actually. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. There's quite a bad piece around the bottom there, and a bit of localised elbow grease. That's come really, really rather well. So that's the Quick Glow. I'd have no hesitation recommending that as a product. I think it's great. I'm really pleased with the way that stuff's come up. Time will tell how long lasting it is, but Jay Leno, I reckon a year on his thing that he was doing, and I think if it lasts a year, then that's pretty good going. If it's good enough for him with his 160 cars or whatever he's got, then it's good enough for me. So yeah, I would certainly recommend that.